You've got the right address.
You need some Oscar predictions.
The answer's always yes.
A little chance to hear from
Ayesha and Max's Movie Minute.
Starting
right now.
We weren't practicing that for
No,
a few
not
days.
at
Not at all.
all.
That
We
was
just
natural.
Spontaneous. You know how it is. Anyway.
Welcome back. We're here for another episode, and we're back for
Year
movie
two.
predictions. Year 2 for
Second
movie
edition.
predictions and reviews of this year's movies. What a year has it been, right?
It has been quite a year, and I've got to say, this is our second edition. We did this last year, and we just had to come back this year. You know, it has been such a year, like you said, 2016, with as far as, you know, films and the performances and everything. And, you know, I just got to say, we're right in the thick of it because we have the Oscar nominations just came out 2 days ago. Golden Globe Awards happened earlier this month. Everything's in. All the nominations are in. We heard from the SAG Awards. We know what their nominations are, which
Happening
are this
weekend, right?
Right, at the Shrine. BAFTA nominations are in. All the nominations are in from all the award show. But, of course, the biggest one, the Oscars, just released 2 days ago.
Just released their nominations.
And we're just going to get started and
Let's
just
get
go
started.
right into it. Just
Okay.
our take on what we think got snubbed and surprises.
Let's do it. Let's take a moment just to talk about the diversity this year in the Oscars. Amazing, right?
It's been so great.
There's been a lot of history made. Barry Jenkins.
Barry Jenkins. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Barry Jenkins.
He's the first African-American man to be nominated in 3 categories of Best Screenplay, Best Picture, and Best Director.
Yeah. He's the first Black writer-director to ever score a nomination in all 3 of those categories for a single movie, which was Moonlight. But yeah, and did you want to talk a little bit about how it's kind of like the end, I guess you could say, of like #Oscars so white with the diversity?
Yeah, I think all the films this year, it wasn't just diversity between the cast, but also like the story and the context. You know, we travel from a boy getting lost in India and being adopted in Australia, Lion, and then we jump onto Moonlight, you know, a coming-of-age story. Great, a movie. And then we travel just from there to Arrival, where Amy Adams is trying to talk to aliens. Like, I think this year has a lot of really cool, like, diversity and the context from it. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a really good point you're making, because you're not just talking about, like, diversity as far as, like, racially diverse, but you're also talking about diverse in the storytelling and the fact that we had sci-fi, we had coming-of-age story, like you said, we had, you know, melodrama. So we did have a cross-section of different genres and different types of stories that were told this year, which is a great point. But yeah, just continuing on to what you just said, of the 20 acting nominees this year, 7 are people of color, which is 7 divided by 20. That's 35% of the acting nominees are people of color. That's just unprecedented. I mean, 35%, that's a lot better than the 0% the past couple of years, which is why Oscars So White became like a social media like thing. But it's been
a big
great.
change this year, yeah.
It's a big change. And you talked about Barry Jenkins. Some other history was also made where it's the first time that there's at least one person of color in each of the 4 acting categories. So that's huge. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this as we get into the acting categories. But did you want me to get started? So basically what's going to happen right now is we're just going to go through the 6 big categories, the 4 acting, the director, and Best Picture, and just provide our takes with what got in, what didn't get in, some shockers, since they were just announced a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Before we begin, pretty predictable, to be honest, across all the categories, but there were some notable things or performances or films that did get in that are worth talking about. So let's start with supporting actress. We have Viola Davis for Fences, Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea, Nicole Kidman for Lion, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, and Octavia Spencer for Hidden Figures. And I also just want to say, and this was a good point we made before the show, which was that this is the first time that an acting category is majority-minority, where only 2 of the 5 are white, but 3 of the 5 are African-American, which has just never happened before, and it just adds to the history making at this year's Oscars. So anyway, what did you think of supporting actress? What, you know, any notable?
I think most of them were predictable. I saw most of them coming. I think all of them deserve to be nominated. yeah, I think all of them are very, very predictable.
Right.
How about you?
And then you also, because I remember you told me before about Viola Davis.
Oh, Viola Davis,
because she's nominated.
She was the first, she made history as well. She's the first African-American woman to get nominated 3 times.
For an Oscar.
For an Oscar, yeah.
Right. The previous 2 times were Doubt and The Help. And now this is her third for Fences. And I think of the 4, this is, like, seen as, like, the one that's, like, not really close. Like, it's kind of obvious that it's going to go to Viola unless something crazy happens at SAG this weekend. But I think people kind of get that it's Viola's, and she's never won an Oscar.
She did win at the Golden Globes, so
she did win
we'll
at the Golden Globes. Then again, so did Aaron Taylor Johnson. But we'll get to that later.
We'll get to
that was pretty big. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. The 5 that got nominated for supporting actress, pretty predictable. I did think one in particular a couple in particular that kind of got snubbed were maybe Greta Gerwig for 20th Century Women, who was nominated at Critics' Choice and some other little things she could have gotten in. Also Janelle Monáe for Hidden Figures. But with Octavia Spencer in there, that may have like split up the vote, and they both probably couldn't have gotten in, so it was like one or the other. But I think Janelle Monáe, Hidden Figures, and Greta Gerwig for 20th Century Women. But then they're notable snubs. But I think overall, the 5 are pretty much predictable. I do have to say, though, that one film I really do much like, and it's actually a Netflix film, so you should watch it on Netflix, Other People.
Oh, Other People.
It's a really great,
I
was telling you about this. I saw it about a month ago. It came out a while ago. That could have been a reason why it faded into the dark. But it's a really great story about, it's really sad, but it's also really funny. It's like a comedy drama. It's like Skeleton Twins. And it's with Molly Shannon. And she, I think, started out as kind of maybe an early favorite to get nominated, but her light kind of dimmed as the season kind of went on. It's a really small movie, though, and I don't think a lot of people have seen it. But that's like a notable, it's not really a snub, because I kind of knew it wasn't going to get in, but she was great in Molly Shannon and Other People. It was just a phenomenal film and very emotional, too. Okay, that's enough about Other People, a movie that's not even nominated. I'm sorry.
I'll definitely check it out, though.
Check it out. So we talked about supporting actors.
Supporting actor.
Let's talk about supporting actors.
So I think one of the surprises was Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon was not nominated for supporting actor at the Golden Globes. Instead of Aaron Taylor Johnson was nominated for Nocturnal Animals in the same movie, but Michael Shannon did get nominated for the Best Supporting Actor. To me, it was a surprise because, you know, we would see if Aaron Taylor Johnson got nominated at the Golden Globes, Aaron Taylor Johnson would get nominated at the BAFTA and the Oscars too. But that was a big surprise for Michael Shannon. This is his second nominee. I think his first nomination was from Revolutionary Road.
That's
yeah,
right.
so I really liked his acting in Nocturnal Animals. He played that kind of like mysterious thriller officer. Great movie.
And you kind of rooted for him in the movie.
I did. But it was a really surprise that Aaron Taylor Johnson didn't get nominated for that. So.
Yeah, it's really funny too because when
he didn't just get nominated; he won a Golden Globe for it. So you would expect him to, probably get nominated for an Oscar, but we didn't see that happen. So they probably bumped up, Michael Shannon instead of him.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say that and how much the season really changes it because Aaron Taylor Johnson, it was seen as a jaw dropper that he even got nominated at the Golden Globes. No one was talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson being nominated.
And he won. That was big surprise too.
That's what kind of changed it and what got a lot of people saying, wait, he not only was nominated, but he won the Golden Globe. He beat Mahershala. Yeah. He beat Jeff Bridges.
Dev Patel,
does that he beat Dev Patel. So because he won it, isn't that kind of a for sure thing? He's going to get at least nominated at the Oscars. But he didn't even get nominated, which is crazy. And I did some research on my part, and the last time that happened where someone who won the Golden Globe for supporting actor but wasn't even nominated at the Oscars was back in 1975, a movie called The Sunshine Boys, the actor in that, Richard Benjamin. But it's been over 40 years since that's happened, so that's kind of crazy. But I do have to say that I am very happy Michael Shannon got in. Because to me, I think
it was phenomenal in that movie.
It was a phenomenal performance. Yeah. That was the best thing about that movie to me, his performance, and I'm glad he got in over Aaron.
Definitely.
I was scared that, I was not scared, but I kind of thought maybe neither of them would get in since they would split the vote since they're from the same movie.
Yeah.
But I'm glad Michael got in there. Maybe it was his payback because he didn't get nominated last year for 99 Homes, Michael Shannon. Other than Michael Shannon, would you say it was a pretty what do you think of everything else?
I would say a big surprise for me was from Lucas Hedges.
Lucas Hedges.
Yeah, Hedges. Yeah. He played a young boy from Manchester by the Sea. I think that's a really big surprise for me that he got nominated. I didn't see that coming at all because I think his performance in the movie was okay. I kind of saw him like, just like a boy, I don't want to like ruin the movie, but I was really surprised about that.
No, yeah, definitely. Although you kind of like saw the cues coming, like he was nominated at SAG, he was nominated at Critics' Choice. I believe he was nominated at BAFTA too. Mm-hmm. So you saw that coming with Lucas Hedges. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. I'm with you.
I was like a little bit confused.
Yeah, I'm like, did I see the same movie? I just saw him as like an annoying nephew, to be honest.
I think it was probably between him and Hugh Grant.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Hugh Grant also a snub of the Oscars. Right. I definitely thought he should have been nominated for supporting actor for
Florence Foster Jenkins. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
It is.
Which is weird because he wasn't nominated, but Meryl was. So it's not like they didn't like the movie, But yeah, I would say besides Michael getting in, which is like a nice little yay for us because we liked him and we did think it was a long shot, everything else was pretty predictable. It was Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea, Dev Patel for Lion, and Jeff Bridges from Hell or High Water. So. All right. Well, I guess we are moving on to actress.
Actress, yes.
Actress. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So the nominees are Emma Stone for La La Land, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, Isabelle Huppert for Elle, and Ruth Negga for Loving. So I just want to say off the bat that I did see Ruth Negga as a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Have you seen Loving?
I haven't seen Loving yet.
Loving.
Yeah, so I can't really say much about it.
You haven't seen Loving. Yeah, well, it's very, understated. It's very silent.
It came out, a few months ago,
right?
Did. And it was a very big deal. Everyone was talking about it, and it kind of disappeared as all these new movies were coming in, right?
Yeah, that could have been a reason why.
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise she got in because kind of, faded that movie, since it did come out a while ago. But Ruth getting in was kind of seen as a long shot every day that went by because you just had so many others. This was a crazy field for Best Actress because think of all the people that didn't get in. Annette Bening for 20th Century Women, who's so overdue an Oscar, and she just gave a phenomenal performance. If she got in, she could have played the overdue factor and probably maybe won. Emily Blunt also for Girl on a Train, which was seen as because her getting in at SAG, maybe that's just an outlier.
Was she nominated for any Golden Globes?
She wasn't, no, but she was also nominated at BAFTA for Girl on the Train. Okay. So she was nominated at SAG and BAFTA for Girl on the Train. So we were like, oh, maybe we should take this seriously now. But she ended up not getting in. Also a couple others, but we kind of saw it coming. Taraji P. Henson for Hidden Figures and Jessica Chastain for Miss Sloane. But
Amy Adams.
Yeah, let's talk about the big shocker.
Amy Adams, 5-time nominee Amy Adams, and she didn't get nominated this year for Arrival.
Yeah.
That's very disappointing.
It is disappointing.
Everything else got nominated for Arrival except Amy Adams.
So it seemed personal.
Yeah, it really did.
It got 8 nominations. It was nominated everywhere else that it kind of was supposed to, but her.
She is overdue for an Oscar.
Maybe they were just nice to her because they were like, you're gonna end up losing even if you do get nominated. So we just won't put you through that, the struggle of the season.
Maybe.
That could have been it. But yeah, I was definitely shocked by that. And we didn't like her. I mean, we thought it was okay. It kind of went over our heads, I think.
I think...
But we liked Amy.
Yeah, we liked Amy. The highlight of Arrival for me was Amy. Her performance was great.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think she's very overdue for an Oscar.
Yeah, I agree.
5-time nominee, Amy Adams.
And it could have been 6-time nominee. But then again, she wasn't going to win because she had Emma Stone to deal with.
She's probably the new Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's true. Yeah. Hey, I've been saying that for a few years, but now I know because after nominations were announced, Amy Adams became number 1 trending on Twitter. It's now we're talking about Amy Adams. I was talking about her back in 2013, how she was overdue for an Oscar. Anyway, but Other than that, pretty predictable. Emma getting in, Natalie getting in, Meryl Streep getting in. I think especially after that Golden Globe speech, not seen as very predictable, likely. And then Isabelle Huppert for that French film. And she won the Golden Globe. That was a shock that she won over Natalie.
Didn't see that coming for
So I think Ruth Negga was a surprise, but everything else seemed to fall in line, I would say. Yeah. Okay. So what did you think? Did you want to talk about Best Actor?
Yeah, let's hop on to Best Actor.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh my god. The biggest snub for me was Tom Hanks.
Really?
He has such a mysterious, unrelenting, relationship with the Oscars, He's been... The last time he was nominated was 16 years ago for Castaway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. He wasn't nominated for Saving Mr. Banks or Captain Phillips or...
Bridge of Spies.
Bridge of Spies.
And now Sully.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest step for me. I think Tom Hanks definitely should have get nominated for Sully. I think he was he was great in that movie.
Oh, you liked it?
I did. But
you just like, you're a Tom Hanks fan.
I don't know why the Oscars don't like Tom Hanks anymore.
True.
It's like, here you go. You have 2 awards already. Like, we're done with you,
No, did you have something else to say?
No,
You're good?
I'm just really upset about Tom Hanks.
And how, do you like Sully? I think you're more of a Tom Hanks fan, not as much a Sully fan. But I agree with you.
16 years.
16 years it's been. Can you believe that? 16 years?
And he's done great movies in the past. Like, I think Saving Mr. Banks was great. I thought that should have got nominated
Captain
for sure.
Phillips, though.
Captain Phillips. Captain Phillips got nominated for a lot of awards. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor.
For Barkhad.
Yeah, and nothing for Tom Hanks.
I know. I think Captain Phillips, we're drifting into past years, but Captain Phillips was seen as more of a surprise because he was nominated at everything else. The Globe, SAG, BAFTA, Critics' Choice. So that was like a slap in the face. Sully, though, I have to say, isn't much of a surprise, though, because if you saw the cues and clues leading up to a couple days ago, you knew him getting in was kind of a long shot because he wasn't nominated at the Globes or at SAG or BAFTA. He was just nominated at Critics' Choice. And I think the 5 that were nominated, did you want to run through the 5? Or
the 5 that were nominated.
For Best Actor? I think, I'll just say it. I think it was Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge, Ryan Gosling for La La Land, Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, and then the 2 frontrunners, Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea and Denzel Washington for Fences. Those 5 were kind of seen as the 5 that were just like set in stone from the beginning.
But Viggo Mortensen, he was a surprise because Captain Fantastic didn't get nominated for anything else.
That's true. The other films kind of had more support. But yeah, Viggo getting in was seen as a surprise from like the beginning of awards season, when he got into the Globes, and then SAG nominated him. So once the precursors started chiming in and started putting Viggo in, you kind of saw the Oscar coming. But yeah, at first it definitely was seen as a surprise. But since he just was nominated at so much leading up to the Oscars, it was like, yeah, at this point, like, he was probably going to get in. I would also say that Joel Edgerton not getting in for Loving, it's weird that they're like a pair, Ruth Negga and Joel Edgerton in that movie, and they're kind of, during award season, when one's nominated, usually the other's too. So that's kind of weird that, like, they nominated Ruth but not Joel. So that was seen as quite a, kind of a snub. So, yeah.
I feel like 50% of the chance that people that do win in the Golden Globes for Best Actor in the drama category do end up winning an Oscar for their category.
Okay.
Like,
so you're making the case for Casey, right?
We've seen this happen, in 4 years. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio, he won a Golden Globe in the drama category at the Globes. Eddie Redmayne, Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, yeah, I agree with you. So maybe that says something. That means that Denzel really needs to up his game if he really wants that Oscar. Maybe win at SAG this weekend or something.
I agree.
But we'll see. That's going to be a close contest, I think, for Best Actor. Let's move on. We talked about actress, so let's move on to Best Director, shall we? We have Barry Jenkins, who we talked about earlier, made history. He's nominated for Moonlight. Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea. Denis Villeneuve for Arrival. And Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. I wanted to try to list all those nominees without looking at my flashcard. That's why I was looking at you the whole time. But what do we think of Best Director? I'll tell you what I thought of Best Director. I thought it was predictable. That's the word of the day. As far as 4 of the 5, I think the one that got in that was seen as the shock was Mel Gibson. It seems like after what happened, it seems like Hollywood has kind of just redeemed him and was like, we accept your apology. It's like his apology was this movie, and they were like,
all the social media buzz against him was kind of over after
it kind of simmered out. But I think him getting in was a little bit of a surprise. I think some snubs might have been Martin Scorsese. It's Scorsese, and the fact that he didn't get in for Silence.
Yeah, I think Silence was very underrated this year.
It was. It came out too late, I think. I don't think a lot of people really had a chance to see it.
I agree.
I also think the director of Lion was a possibility, Garth Davis. He got in a DGA. And then Denzel Washington. I think that's probably the biggest snub for me. Just a director that played off-screen and on-screen. I think that's a lot of hard work, and I think the movie was amazing, so... Yeah. And I think he did a great job directing. And I feel like the Oscars would love it when, like, actors want to step up to the plate and be a director, so I'm surprised
and just, like, go off-screen and on-screen also. It takes a lot of work and time for that, so it's pretty great.
Yeah, for sure. And I would also say the director of Hell or High Water could have also gotten in David Mackenzie. Usually they throw in like a director nominee where it's like, oh, well, we didn't see that coming. Like, you remember Beasts of the Southern Wild a few years ago? Yeah. The director of that movie got nominated for Best Director, which was crazy. Like, no one saw that coming. So
Did the picture get nominated?
Yeah, and the picture got nominated. But they usually, that was the year Ben Affleck got snubbed for Argo, remember, Best Director?
Yes,
so he probably took his spot. But that usually happens with Best Director where it's like one of those 5 are like, oh, whoa, where did that come from? So I kind of predicted, it was a bold prediction, but I thought that the director of Hell or High Water just might have come out from nowhere and just been nominated since they usually do that. Yeah. But I guess in this case it was Mel that came out from nowhere and was nominated for director. Which I saw as the shocker. Yeah. All right. Do we want to move on to the last one?
Yeah, Best Picture.
All right, Best Picture. Yes. All right, here we go. You ready, Ayesha?
Yes.
Okay. So how many got nominated this year?
9.
9. 9. And that's...
It's funny because it started out with 5 films getting nominated and just, like, expanded.
It expanded, yeah. They changed the rules, I think, like 7 or 8 years ago from 5 to 10. But then after a couple years of doing 10... it's like weird. I don't even know how they do it, honestly, the voting system. It's like really complicated, but they have it where it's like anywhere from 5 to 10 can get nominated depending on how many votes a film has. So like last year, 8 movies got nominated. This year it's 9. So it just changes.
But the limit is 10, right?
The limit's 10.
So what do you think could have gotten nominated? Like in the last lot?
Right, because 9 movies got nominated. So
They just kept it empty. They're like, everything is fine. We're not gonna put Deadpool in there or Silence or anything else. We're just gonna keep it empty.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think that.
But also, I think the competition is very tight. It's all these films are great this year. Well, you would disagree.
I disagree, but I agree with you in the sense that 10th place definitely is like what would have gotten in if it was 10 movies. I think Deadpool is a possibility.
Deadpool. There was a whole campaign.
There was a campaign, a really smart campaign, and Ryan Reynolds has really been playing it good this past couple.
He is.
Campaign.
His marketing towards Deadpool was great. It was everywhere. So we really thought Deadpool would get nominated.
Well, I don't know if I really thought it would get nominated.
I thought maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it certainly did.
In the long run, yeah.
It was. It did surprise a lot of people because it was nominated at the Producers Guild and at the Golden Globes, and it definitely did come up from behind, but didn't end up getting it. I think
even Silence, like.
Yeah, that's Scorsese. And it only got 1 nomination for cinematography. So yeah, I think Silence, Deadpool. I also want to throw in Jackie. I think that had a chance of getting in.
Yeah, definitely.
And also Loving, possibly, and maybe also Sully. But I think Sully got 1 nomination. Loving got 1 nomination. Jackie got, I think, 3: actress, music, and costumes. But I think they just Deadpool got nothing.
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit snotty.
Suicide Squad got something.
I know. Passengers. Really? Passengers got 2 nominations, music and production design.
Wow.
and I know. It's so funny that Passengers got more nominations than like Sully or Loving or like or Deadpool, you know? So it's just weird the way they do things. But let's talk about what actually did get nominated. We saw these coming. It's kind of like the standard 9 we've always seen. La La Land, Moonlight, Arrival, Manchester, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Lion, and Hidden Figures, and Fences. Any thoughts on the Best Picture race? With what
predictable.
got in?
Maybe Hidden Figures is a bit of a surprise for me.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, it's kind of a surprise to me for Hidden Figures. I thought maybe Jackie would
have taken that
spot.
Yeah,
have taken that spot.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it got the least amount of nominations of the 9. It got only 3 nominations for Picture, Screenplay, and Supporting Actress for Octavia. We have a couple minutes left, so should we talk about some of the record breaking that happened?
Should we get into La La Land?
Should we get into the La La Land? Should we get into what everyone is talking about?
Yes.
So, record tying. You
14 nominations, tied with All About Eve and Titanic.
Yeah.
Crazy. La La Land just swept this award season.
It got nominated for everything it wanted to.
Yes,
you know?
It won every category in the Golden Globes also.
So which it's just, people are thinking now, and I guess we could just talk about this to close out with where we think the state of the race is now. Because we have La La Land amongst all 9 of the Best Picture nominees having the most nominations, 14. Followed by Moonlight and Arrival. They each have 8, but 14 is a lot more than 8. And Manchester has 6, Hacksaw has 6, then just Lion has 6. But so what do we think? Do we think this is really La La Land's to lose now, heading into the last few weeks of the season? What do you think?
I think in the Best Actress category, I think it's Emma Watson's. You know, she put her
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I think she put her everything in this movie. I think the award is hers.
But let's talk about Picture.
Picture. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
You see something coming from Moonlight, right?
We see Moonlight winning
there.
a Golden Globe for Best Picture.
And you can't look away from that.
Yeah, we can't. So it's a tough call.
It's a tough call. But you know what? We're going to be here for more episodes throughout award season. We'll be here next Thursday, same time at 5:30.
We have a special guest.
We have a special guest, Alicia Malone.
She's going to be joining us.
Has a Fandango show. She works the press junket. She's seen all these movies. She was just at Sundance, so she'll be here to talk about what she's been up to, and also get her take on everything going on Oscar-wise in the season. Yes. It's been great. It's been great.
We have more episodes coming up, so
right. So we'll be
tuned.
here next Thursday, and that'll be after SAG Awards. That'll be after Producers Guild Awards. So we'll get really like a clearer picture.
Yeah,
of
we'll
what's
get more
going
into
on.
it. So thank you for tuning in.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Bye. How do you think we did?